should veterans check their claim status? The reason I want to talk about this, Jason, is because it kind of goes back to the self-healthcare thing. I cannot tell you, and I'm sure it's the same for you, how many questions I get for when's my claim going to be ready? I'm in prep for decision. When's my claim going to be done? When am I going to get my back pay? When am I going to do this? When is my HLR going to be answered? And just for everyone to know right now, here's your answer. I don't care what type of claim it is. There's not a single person on this planet that can answer an accurate timeline question. No one. Not the VA secretary, not the VA rater, not your VSO, certainly not people on YouTube, okay? No one knows when your claim is going to be complete or done or how long it's going to be in evidence gathering. No one knows. And I don't know if you have the app, Jason. I know apps on iPhones, you being as old as you are, might seem foreign to you. That's another joke. Sorry. But the VA has an app, right? And you can check your claim status extremely easy. The issue is the VA, for some reason, has all these codes like 317, 316, 324, whatever. And then someone will check their claim and say, hey, 20 DBQs have been submitted. What does that mean? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. How am I supposed to know what that means? And it gets down to this. Here's my answer to this question. That was a long way around the barn here. Should veterans check the status of their claim? I'm going to say no. Absolutely not. I think veterans should submit the intent to file, actually take advantage of the intent to file, submit your evidence-based claims with your statements, with your evidence, do everything, submit and forget. And when you get the decision, I promise you the anxiety in your life is going to go down. What I can tell you is that by checking the status of your claim does absolutely nothing, right? It's like, ooh, I made it to evidence gathering. Okay. What does that mean? It means nothing. Like to you individually, that means nothing. Hey, my claim's in PFD. Okay. Right. To you, that means nothing. And I just wanted to, this is a huge anxiety-ridden topic. Everyone always checks the status of their claim. I would recommend that veterans don't. I want to hear your opinion on should veterans check the status of their claim or not.
I'm on the other side of the fence. So no matter what, it's going to be the longest time period of your life, if it's your first claim especially. If you filed multiple claims, over your lifetime and now you're filing another one, you're a little less apprehensive about it or stressed out about it. So my thought here is, one, when you file your claim, yes, it's going to be the longest time frame. Two is people who utilize veteran service offices, accredited reps, that type of stuff, will absolutely consistently reach out to their rep and say, hey, what's the status? And then the rep has to go, well, let me look. And then they're remote desktoping into, and they're getting emails from people. Don't do that. Mm-hmm. Check it yourself, because they're already understaffed. And so every extra 15 minutes from 30 people is like a day now has went by of checking on statuses for folks. So don't do that. I think you should check the status primarily, not because it changes anything, not because it's going to make you feel better. And in some cases, it's going to stress you out, sure, because you might see it progress and then actually backtrack and go back to a previous section. And you're like, what the hell? That's normal. It happens. Sometimes they push it and they go, oh, I needed to finish doing this. And they bring it back and they finish doing that. And then they move it again. Mm-hmm. The main thing why I believe veterans should track it is, number one, the average claim time is about, I don't know, half a year or so. Doesn't mean that yours is going to happen in a half a year. Yours could take a year. Who knows, right? But what you want to do, because the VA is notorious of not getting things right, sometimes your claim ends up over here and nobody sees it. And it sits for months and months and months. It'd be nice to know that your little status thing didn't change for months and months and months. So you could then call the VA directly and say, hey, I noticed that my hasn't moved for 3 months. I filed it 6 months ago and it hasn't done anything. Oh, well, let me check. Da, 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 da. And it might prompt them to move forward, especially once you start to get over that 6-month hump, 7 months, 8 months. It's a way for you to just make sure that it is moving along. You can then reach out to your congressional member if you need to. My suggestion is work with an accredited rep. Your accredited rep has a backline phone number into the VA. They can call, have them check on it, see if it's stuck in the system. They can send emails to folks at the VA and say, hey, look, looks like this one's stuck somewhere. Can somebody look into it? The VA, just because you're in one part of the country doesn't mean it's going to send to the closest regional office. The VA has 2 different ways of processing your file. One is if it's a special circumstance, they have a group of people that mostly look at those types of claims. Maybe it's an MST claim or something like that, where people have done a lot of those claims, so they have a better eye for getting those things processed. It might go to a specific group. If it's just a standard type of a claim, the VA is going to look nationally. And when I say the VA, I mean that their computer system and the algorithm will run and go, okay, this area of the country has a lower workload. We're going to start sending claims there. It might be on the other side of the country. It doesn't matter geographically where you're at. They're going to send it to wherever they, again, the algorithm of the VA system, thinks they're going to be able to get the fastest results for you. So there's a lot of computer movement of your claim. And sometimes, just like anything, your computer screws up, your phone screws up. What do? You have to shut it down, restart it, right? Maybe something that you had in some sort of an app now disappeared, right? So believe me, it's a big computer system and things happen. You are the only one who's going to care about your claim. Mm-hmm. I mean, really, at the end of the day, you need to watch it. Don't sit there and go a year and a half later, I'm just waiting. No. If it hasn't moved a stage in like a 3-month period, I'd be making phone calls either to my accredited rep who helped me or to my congressional office who has a staffer who works VA stuff. So they deal with all the Department of Veterans Affairs issues, and they will then reach out to the VA on your behalf. You have to sign some stuff, letting them have the ability to do that. And they'll reach out and look, the VA is not going to go, oh, well, the Congress, office called me. Ooh, let's decide their claim today. No, they're just going to go, oh, okay, we'll look into it. Oh, well, sure enough, it did get stuck. We're working on it and we'll get it done as soon as we can. And they'll send that message back. But now it's unstuck and it's actually in process again. I know I talked a lot. Back to you, Clay. Whew.
Yeah.
You know what, Clay? It's hard to talk that much without breathing. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Breathe. That's important. Self-care, right? No, I 100% agree with you on that point, especially, if I was to give a time frame when I would start making calls, I think comfortably I would say a year, maybe 9 months.
I think 9. If it's not decided by 9, exactly, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And the congressional office would be my number one. There's also a VA White House hotline, which I've never used personally, but I've heard helps. But it's not a, hey, I submitted my claim 2 months ago, I'm going to make a call. I would caution anyone from doing that because whatever. Okay. But yes, totally agree. I do want to bring up this last point, and then I'll kick it for your final thoughts and to close us out, Jason, is if you're going to track your claim, the app is great. Your accredited rep is great. Don't bog them down, though. Just remember, the more you bog them down, the less time you're spending on your claim or anyone else's. Is a tool called the VA Claim Tracker tool. Was made by a veteran. It's absolutely free. It's on Google Chrome extension. I believe it works on Microsoft's Edge. And I know someone's going to comment it, so I'll just speak some nerdy stuff right here. I work in cyber stuff, okay? Cyber policy specifically. And so Google Chrome has a very, very extensive to-do checklist for extensions. And so the VA Claim Tracker tool had to pass their internal security stuff, okay? We'll say it like that. So yes, it's safe. But as with all things, the internet is the internet. It's always vulnerable. But yes, the VA Claim Tracker tool does work. You log into va.gov, you open up the extension, and what the claim tracker tool does is, believe it or not, on va.gov, there's information with your claim that's just not on the screen, right? It's in the interwebs, okay?
Right.
And so the claim tracker tool pulls it. It already exists. It pulls it and says, hey, you know, your claims went to the national work queue and it shot out to this regional office. That's what Jason was describing about the geographical stuff. And it shows you some other stuff, and I'm sure there's going to be updates to the claim tracker tool. But that, if you're going to check your claim, I would use that prior to just checking on your app or asking your VSO. I'm a huge fan of veterans taking some self-accountability with their claim. The claim tracker tool, if you just Google VA claim tracker tool, you'll find it. You can download it. It's free. That would be my recommendation.
Can you get a hold of that guy or no?
I did. So I spoke to the creator. I have a video on it. I'll shoot you the video, so that way if you want to make your own.
Well, let's do it again.
Yeah. Okay.
Bring him on here or whatever, man, because I think that's pretty cool, and to get it from the horse's mouth. I mean, it's probably been a while, right?
Yeah. So it's about a year old. He has I'll link that in the comments below too. Yeah. He has a channel that has like 3 videos on it, but he made a tutorial on his tool that he made, and I'll just link that below in the comments. Yeah. It actually works. It's good. And then I'll reach out to him to have him on the channel, Jason. But those are my final thoughts on Claim Tracker.